I'm Christina, and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I am going to be judging my best books of 2022 based solely on their final line. So I have my top 15 favourite books of 2022 here, and obviously there might be some spoilers because I am reading the final sentence in the book. So let's just jump straight into it. The first one I have here is Carrie, Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So let's look at the final line. Okay, here we go. You don't have to prove a single thing. It's a good final line. I like it, and it does tie in very, very well with the story. So okay, that's what we're going to be basing everything against. Now, the next one I have is a thriller novel, and that is Girl A by Abigail Dean. And let's look. The final sentence. She was at the edge of the water now, facing the sea, and she turned back to me and raised her arm, beckoning or waving. It's a good final sentence. Do I think it's better than Carrie Soto? Just remind myself of what it was again. You don't have to prove a single thing. I think that's better. That's kind of snappier, it's short, it grabs your attention, and it just works so well. Okay, so I'm going to say that's better than the Girl A one. Okay, so that's the ranking so far. Carrie Soto is Back is still the best. So the next one I have is a mystery novel, and it is The Bullet That Missed by Richard Osman, which is the third book in this series. Now let's look at the final line. Okay, there's so many papers at the back. Until next time. There's a little bit just, oh wait, is that, 1 minute. Okay, that was the acknowledgement, so completely ignore that. Right, okay. You keep your head above the water for as long as you can. It's okay. It's not as good as Carrie Soto. Is it better than Girl A? I'm going to say Girl A is better, personally. It's a little bit more metaphorical, a little bit more, you know. I know. Right, the next one. So I have The Book of the Unnamed Midwife by Meg Ellison, and this one is a science fiction dystopian, and it's the start of a series, and really enjoyed it. Okay. Now, do I read the epilogue? Yes, I would. It's obviously the final line. So, okay. Victory? Question mark. Yeah, that's a bit of a disappointing final line. It was a brilliant book, but it's not a very exciting final line, is it? Just like a rhetorical question, victory. No, I'm going to put that one at the bottom, I think. Okay, so that's now in 4th place. So the next one I have is Flamingo by Rachel Elliott, and I only discovered this one because it was longlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction, and I really enjoyed it, and I haven't heard that many people talk about it. I think it's a little bit of a hidden gem still. So let's see the final line. Okay, that's the acknowledgements. Don't want to read out the acknowledgements again. Okay. Daniel, Eve says. So it's a kind of disappointing first line, but knowing the story, it was a very impactful final line when I read it at the time. But taking out of context of the actual story and basing it solely on the final line is not very exciting, Daniel, Eve says. So, I think it's better than Victory, question mark. No, I don't think it is. I'm going to put, I think the rhetorical question has to go above that one. Okay, so I've still got Carrie Soto is Back as the one to beat. Let me just rearrange the pile. Put it down there. Okay, so this one is Everyone Dies Famous in a Small Town by Bonnie Sue Hitchcock. So let's look at the final one. This was kind of read like short stories just kind of intertwined together with all of these different characters, and I thought it was wonderful. Is this the acknowledgements? Yes, it is. Okay. Right. So the final sentence is ever. Full stop. Just ever. I'll read the one just before because it's literally one word. And you'll never have to worry about stranding all alone again, Louise, ever. It's okay, it's quite good. I feel like these aren't as impactful when you haven't read the whole book, obviously. So I think it's better than Flamingo that we've just read. Is it better than Victory ? No, I think it's probably not as good. I'm going to put that up here, right? Put these up here. Okay, so I'm going to put it underneath the Book of the Unnamed Midwife. I think Victory ? has something over ever. So, now I have The Burning Girls by C.J. Tudor, and this one is kind of a thriller horror kind of genre, and it was really good. Really enjoyed it. I think it was definitely the best kind of thriller book that I read last year, I would say. Okay, let's get to the final line. He was dead. That's pretty good. It's a pretty good final line. Where am I going to put it? What was Carrie Soto is back again? I actually feel like none of these final lines have been as good as I thought they might have been. You don't have to prove a single thing. He was dead. What was girl A? I mean, he was dead was quite impactful, obviously, when you read the book. She was at the edge of the water, now facing the sea, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I'm going to put that one there. I'm going to put... Which one's better? He was dead or... Let me read it again. How do I keep forgetting what it was? You don't have to prove a single thing. You don't have to prove a single thing. He was dead. I think you don't have to prove a single thing and then he was dead. Next one I have is The Island of Missing Trees by Alicia Fack. Now this is another one that I read because it was on the Women's Prize for Fiction. I've got a few here because they were on that prize, and it was so nice because I don't think I ever would have picked them up or even known they existed had I not been following the Women's Prize. So let's see. I think this one is a note. That's an acknowledgement, okay. That's the picture. This is the glossary. That's the note to the reader. We're nearly there. Okay. So, final line. This is a really, really big final line. It's an entire paragraph, this sentence. Is that right? Yeah, it is. Okay. So, a whole paragraph for the final sentence, which is the longest one we've had so far. But I know, and I trust that, any moment now, my beloved Costas Kazantzakis will come out to the garden with a spade in his hand, perhaps wearing his old navy parka again, the one we bought together from a vintage shop on Portobello Road, and he will dig me out and pull me up, holding me gently in his arms, and behind his beautiful eyes, engraved in his soul, they will still be there, the remains of an island at the far end of the Mediterranean Sea, the remains of our love. Such a good final sentence. I found it very impactful at the time. This book made me cry. It was such an emotive read. It's kind of got like a love story interwoven into this historical fiction, and the narrator is a fig tree, and I thought it was brilliant. So I think that's the best out of them all. It's probably a little bit unfair because having such a long sentence that is literally an entire paragraph, it's obviously going to be a lot more impactful as a final line than just some of these one words, very kind of simple ones. But there we go. This is what I'm doing. I'm judging it by the final line. So that's the best so far. So this is The End of Men by Christina Sweeney Bird, and this one is a science fiction, dystopian kind of novel. I read some really good science fiction novels last year, and I think I read this one, yes, because it was nominated for the Goodreads Choice Awards in the previous year in the science fiction category. So what is this? I think this is the acknowledgements. Yes, it is. So is this the end of the story? Yeah. We will not be together in this life, but I am so very glad you have been mine. I think that's pretty good. Yes. Is that better than Alicia Fack's? Let me read it one more time. Let me really soak that sentence in. We will not be together in this life, but I am so very glad you have been mine. I think that's better, actually. Okay, I think this is the one to beat. I think this is the best. And then The Island of Missing Trees with that lovely final line. And then Carrie Soto is back. Because it's just so motivational. So that is going to be third. Okay, so I have another science fiction book, and this one is also because it was on the Women's Prize for Fiction, and that is Salt Lick by Lulu, Allison, and I really enjoyed this. I thought it was really good. And again, I haven't heard that many people talking about it. I think it's excellent. So those are the acknowledgements. Is this the final page? Yes, it is. Okay, so the final line in this book is, "And so new growth unfurls in both the living and the dead." That's good. Where to put it? So I think that's near the top. It's a lot better than a lot of them that we've heard. "And so new growth unfurls in both the living and the dead." I think it's not as good as The End of Men, and it's not as good as The Island of Missing Trees. Is it better than Carrie Soto is Back? I think it is. Okay, I'm going to put this third. That's knocked Carrie Soto off third place. So that's that one. Right, okay. So now I have another Taylor Jenkins read. This is One True Loves, the only author to be on this list twice this year. So is this... Okay, so this is like a little discussion with the author. So let's skip through that. And then see, is this... Nope, that's the acknowledgements. Okay, nearly there. Okay, this is the final sentence in this book. "And then we say goodbye." It's good, and having read it, it was impactful, and again, this book made me cry. Oh, let me read it one more time. "And then we say goodbye." And then we say goodbye. It's better than Carrie Soto, I think. So, is it better than the Salt Lick one? And then we say goodbye against... A minute. Salt Lick. Got myself confused. What's it? "And so new growth unfurls in both the living and the dead." I think "And so we say goodbye" is kind of more impactful. I think. Okay. I think it is. What about the Alicia Fack one? Oh, it was the really, really long one, wasn't it? I think "And so we say goodbye" is slightly more impactful, actually. Okay, I wasn't expecting that, so let's go in above Alicia Fack. Okay, I'm doing it like this. End of Men, One True Loves, Alicia Fack, Salt Lick. Okay. Continuing on is another science fiction book that I really enjoyed. This one was on the Orwell Prize for Political Fiction, and I would love to read more on that prize from 2022 and then following it in 2023 by Jessie Greengrass. So let's see. It was so good. It's kind of like science fiction about climate change, and I just found it really impactful, and again it was really emotional. Again, another one that made me cry. Okay, so that was the acknowledgements. Okay, here's the final line. Oh, this was sorry, I kind of read it and didn't read it out loud, but this one was so good. It made me cry. I read it again and it made me cry. "The last will lie here forever in the high house, which is our sanctuary and will be our grave." So good. I think that's the best. Just hands down, that's the best out of all of them. Let me read it one more time. "The last will lie here forever in the high house, which is our sanctuary and will be our grave." Such a good line. So impactful when you've read the whole book. Okay, that's just going straight to the top. So that was easy for that one. And then we have The Dictionary of Lost Words by Pip Williams, which was a historical fiction book. So good. This one also made me cry. This is now just a list of books that made me cry. And you know what? I would say that I generally don't cry that much at books, but this list would kind of suggest otherwise. Okay, so this is the timeline of major historical events in the novel. So we'll skip that. This is the timeline of the Oxford English Dictionary, so we'll skip that. Oh, this is definitions. No, it's acknowledgements. Okay, it's acknowledgements written in an interesting way. Right. Is this the end of the book? No, I think this is a note to the reader. That's the author's note. Okay. There we go. Okay, here we go. "For a while, this beautiful, troubling word belonged to my mother." Such a good final line. So impactful when you've read the book. So I don't think it's as good as High House, but it is going to be somewhere up there. It might be second or it might be third. Let me just read The End of Men again. What is it with science fiction books having really good final lines? 1 minute. Where's it gone? We will not be together in this life, but I am so very glad you have been mine. Oh, I did like the one about her mother. For a while, this beautiful, troubling word belonged to my mother. I think it's better than the end of Men. Yes, I'm doing it. Right, okay, so it's going High House, Dictionary of Love with Words, End of Man, One True Loves. Okay, that pile's getting a little bit unmanageable. So I also have the book We Are the Brennans by Tracy Lang. I think I read this one because it was on the Goodreads Choice Awards for Best Fiction. I think that's why I read this one. So let's see, final one. So that's the acknowledgements. Okay, final line. Together. That's really disappointing. It was a good book. That's an underwhelming final line. Okay, again, because it's a single word sentence like one of the others, I'll read the previous line just to, give it a fair shot. There would be a plan, and whatever happened, they would figure it out together. It's okay. It's kind of a bit general, Where do I want to put that? I think it's not as good as Salt Lick. Wow, Salt Lick really moved down. That was at the top. Okay. I think it's probably underneath Carrie, Soto, because I like that motivational final one. That's going to really mess up my pile. So I will do that in a minute. And then, you know what, actually? It wasn't that good at all. I'm going to put it underneath The Bullet in the Mist. What was the Book of the Unnamed Midwife? This is going way down to the bottom. Victory, question mark. Yeah, was it better than that? Something about being together. No, I don't think so. What was Everyone Dies Famous? Ever. You know what? I'm going to put it down here. Okay, so the final book is The Appeal by Janice Hallett. This was such a good mystery novel, kind of mixed media format. I just kept trying to figure it out. It was like a puzzle within a book, and I thought it was really good. Okay, so that's the acknowledgements. This is the final part of the book. Okay, so this is in a letter. So the final line is Izzy, as in lots of love, Izzy. So I'm going to skip that and go to the actual final line in the letter in the book. So we're doing that. Okay. There's nothing as exciting as a fresh new start when the page is blank and the future is all for the making! Exclamation mark. It's okay. The book's brilliant. But the final line, a little bit underwhelming. Okay, what was the Book of the Unnamed Midwife? Because I think it's going to go near the bottom, if I'm being honest. Oh, where's that epilogue gone? Come on. Victory, question mark. I think Victory, question mark is actually better. Right, I am putting it here. Let me move this massive pile of books. Maybe I need to do this in two parts. Okay, this one, and then this one. And then these. Okay. So the top five. It goes High House by Jessie Greengrass. It goes Dictionary of Lost Words by Pip Williams. End of Men by Christina Sweeney Bird. One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And The Island Missing Trees by Leaf Shafak. Now let me see if I'm going to kind of compare them to my actual favourite books. Like they're all up there at the top. So yes, The High House is genuinely top 3. And it's top here. I'll just tell you it one more time. Just to make sure. The last will lie here forever in the High House, which is our sanctuary and will be our grave. So, so good. Definitely worthy winner. And probably one of my favourite books of the year, genuinely. Genuinely. And then The Dictionary of Lost Words was my favourite book of the year for a long time until I read some of these others. So I would say top 3. And that was a really good final one about the word being with her mother. Oh, where's it gone? For a while, this beautiful, troubling word belonged to my mother. So this works. These two books are in the top 2, and they're definitely in my top 2 of favourites. And then it changes a little bit. So The End of Men is 3rd, which was We Will Not Be Together in This Life, but I am so very glad you have been mine. Okay, so top 3. That's so interesting. And then it goes these ones, which probably wouldn't be quite near the top. Now, which ones here would have been, so yeah, Salt Lick would go higher in my favourites, but not as good with the first line. What was it? And so New Growth unfurls from both the living and the dead. So it is good. So is there anything down there that was definitely near the top? The Book of the Unnamed Midwife, victory question mark, was one of my top favourites, and it's quite low down. It's 15, 14, 13, 12, 11th in the ranking. Apart from the others, that's pretty similar, actually. I think Burning Girls would be near at the bottom, with the Brennans near at the bottom. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Okay, so these are the books in their ranking, and I cannot lift this. There we go. You won't be able to see the bottom ones, unfortunately. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure what I've gained from that. I've gained from it the sense that two of my absolute favourite books of the entire year are at the top. I think it would be like 1, 2. No, which one was number 3? I still haven't decided. I still haven't filmed my best books of the year. I know this is my top 15, but I've not ranked them, and it's getting to the end of February. But I will do. So yeah, I think it would go High House 1, Dictionary of Lost Words 2, and then number 3. Oh, it's so difficult. Maybe no, not Salt Lick. Maybe The Island of Missing Trees. Maybe The Book of the Unnamed Midwife down there, actually. Yeah. Appeals near at the top. I'm just gonna leave it there because I could sit here for ages. So yeah. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please do like it. And if you'd like to hear more of me talking about books, please do subscribe. If you have read any of these books, I would love to know what you thought of them. And even if you haven't, which one do you think had the best line, the best final line out of these? I would love to know which one you thought was most impactful, whether you've read the book or not, which one really left an impression as just a brilliant final sentence to a book. All right then, see you in my next one. Bye.